The Angel of the Dangerous Prison and the Terrible Prisoner. Deep in the heart of a forgotten valley stood an ancient prison, known only by those who feared it, Blackridge. Built during an era when punishment outweighed justice, Blackridge had earned its reputation as one of the most brutal and dangerous correctional facilities in existence. Its towering stone walls, wrapped in rusted barbed wire, loomed like a curse over the land. Storm clouds seemed to linger above it, as if nature itself recoiled from the evil trapped inside. Over the years, tales of Blackridge had passed through whispers, tales of violence, cruelty, and madness. Guards were just as feared as the inmates. Many who entered, either as prisoner or staff, rarely left unchanged, if they left at all. In the darkest corners of the prison, screams echoed even when no one was there. Some claimed the very walls were alive with the pain of those who had suffered within them. But within the horrors of Blackridge, a strange legend grew. It started as nothing more than a rumor among inmates, a presence, gentle and unseen, that protected the weak. Prisoners spoke of wounds mysteriously healed, of food and medicine appearing when none was available, and of death being postponed at the last moment. They called this figure the Angel of Blackridge. No one had ever seen the angel clearly. Some said it was a ghost, perhaps a former inmate who had died unjustly and now wandered the corridors, driven by a mission to right the wrongs of the past. Others believed it was one of the prisoners or staff, disguising their identity while risking everything to bring light into the darkness. Most dismissed it as myth. After all, why would an angel walk among monsters? And yet, things happened that no one could explain. One night, a guard was found unconscious beside a prisoner he had been beating, his keys missing, the cell door open, the prisoner gone. Another time, a sickly inmate, left to die in solitary, was found healthy and sleeping peacefully, with warm blankets and water no one claimed to have provided. The warden, a cruel and power-hungry man, ordered investigations. He believed these acts were part of a rebellion, but no culprit was ever caught, and the legend only grew stronger. Then came the arrival of a new inmate, a man known across the country for crimes so horrific they had shaken entire communities. His name was Darius Venn, but inmates and guards alike called him the Butcher. Towering, silent, and with eyes like cold steel, Darius carried a presence that seemed to darken the very air around him. Rumors swirled that he had killed without mercy and without reason, and that he had been sent to Blackridge not for punishment, but to be forgotten. From the moment he arrived, the prison seemed to change. Tension rose, guards grew more violent, as if feeding off his energy. Other prisoners began to turn on one another more frequently. The angel, too, seemed to retreat, as if Darius's presence threatened even the unseen guardian of the jail. But legends don't fade so easily, and as Darius settled into the shadows of Blackridge, something else awakened. The angel, silent for weeks, returned, more active, more daring. It was as if Darius's darkness had summoned not only fear, but a challenge. A battle was beginning, between the worst of humanity and whatever light still flickered in that God-forsaken place. This is the story of that battle, of a terrible prisoner, a mysterious angel, and a prison where hope was supposed to die, but didn't. The arrival of the terrible prisoner. The gates of Blackridge groaned open with the sound of ancient metal grinding against stone, a sound that hadn't echoed quite like this in years. It wasn't the usual arrival of a new inmate. This time, the entire prison held its breath. A convoy of armored vehicles had escorted the prisoner to the compound, complete with armed guards in riot gear. That alone was enough to raise suspicion, but it was the look in the eyes of those escorting him, trained officers hardened by war and violence, that truly unsettled the onlookers. They didn't look defiant, they looked relieved to be passing him off. His name was Darius Venn. To the outside world, he was a ghost story told to frighten children and a nightmare used to warn criminals. Convicted of multiple homicides, suspected in dozens more, and linked to a string of disappearances no court could explain, Darius had a reputation built on terror. He didn't just kill, he devastated. What made him truly horrifying wasn't just the brutality of his acts, but the eerie silence in which he committed them. He never screamed, he never ran, he never smiled. When Darius stepped through the gates of Blackridge, his chains rattled louder than the storm building in the sky. Tall, heavily muscled, with a shaved head and hollow eyes, he said nothing as he was escorted past the other inmates. They jeered, shouted, even threatened him. Darius didn't flinch. One man reached through the bars, trying to spit at him. Within seconds, the man lay twitching on the floor, his jaw broken in 3 places, and Darius hadn't even been seen moving. Warden Hadley watched from his tower. A man with no sympathy for the inmates under his care, Hadley ruled Blackridge with an iron fist and a cruel heart. Yet even he felt something unusual that day, a chill he couldn't shake. He studied Darius as he was led into solitary, eyes narrowing with distrust. "This one," Hadley muttered to his lieutenant, "is not like the rest. He's not broken. He breaks. We'll keep him down or we'll all go under." Darius was placed in the deepest cell. Concrete walls, no windows, no sound but dripping water. Cameras were installed to monitor him constantly. Guards rotated in short shifts to prevent exhaustion or manipulation. But it made no difference. Darius never spoke, never resisted, never even slept much. He simply waited, watching, listening. Strange things began to happen almost immediately. Inmates became more violent. Fights broke out daily. A guard was found unconscious, muttering incoherently. One prisoner hanged himself without warning. The darkness Darius brought was spreading like a disease. Fear gripped the prison, not fear of punishment, but something deeper, something primal. And still, the angel remained hidden. Warden Hadley, increasingly disturbed by the changes in behavior among his staff and prisoners, ordered full lockdowns. He doubled patrols. He forbade any contact with Darius except for feeding and monitoring. But his orders came too late. Blackridge was already changing, as if reacting to Darius's presence. Shadows lengthened, lights flickered, and even the bravest guards hesitated to patrol the lower halls. Yet among all the chaos, a quiet resistance began to grow. Some inmates whispered that the angel was still there, that he or it was watching. One night, a brutal beating was interrupted by an unseen force. A prisoner swore his stab wound healed within hours. A hidden note was found under a mattress. "He cannot change, but you can. Endure. Hope lives," the warden scoffed. "There's no angel here," he said coldly. "Only monsters, and Darius is the worst of them." But he was wrong. In the battle between darkness and light, the first move had already been made. Redemption in the shadows. It had been weeks since Darius Venn had arrived at Blackridge, and the prison had never been darker. The warden's orders had turned the facility into a near-military zone. Inmates were silenced with violence, and even the guards whispered of quitting. Hope, always scarce within those stone walls, now seemed extinct, but the angel had returned. No longer content with simply watching, the angel left messages, offered small kindnesses, hidden food, makeshift bandages, even short notes of encouragement. Though no one ever saw the figure clearly, a few prisoners swore they glimpsed someone in a hood moving through the shadows, too quick and quiet for any man. The whispers returned. The angel is real. Some inmates who were once violent began to change. They refused to fight. They resisted the madness spreading from Darius's arrival. And then, the angel entered Darius's cell. It happened during the 3rd night of a power outage that mysteriously knocked out the cameras and emergency systems. While the guards scrambled to respond, a single figure moved through the darkness with purpose. Cloaked in a guard's uniform and a hood, the angel passed unnoticed until he stood before Darius's cell door. Darius sat on his bunk, motionless, eyes like cold steel in the dim light of a flickering bulb. The angel unlocked the door and stepped inside. "Don't come closer," Darius said, his voice low, steady, and heavy with warning. But the angel didn't stop. He sat on the bench opposite him, lowering his hood. The man beneath the disguise was no ghost. He was real, weathered with tired eyes and a scarred face. His name was Elias Crane, a former inmate who had once served time at Blackridge for a violent robbery that left a child injured. He had been presumed dead after an escape attempt years ago. In truth, he had never left. I know what you've done, Elias said, voice calm. I've read it all, heard it from guards, from other inmates. Then you know I should kill you, Darius replied, though he made no move to do so. I know, Elias said simply, but I'm not here to fight. I'm here because I know what it means to be swallowed by guilt, to let pain become your name. Darius's jaw tightened. I'm not guilty. I just stopped pretending to care. Elias leaned forward. Then why haven't you hurt me? You've had every chance. You could have ended me the second I opened the door. Silence. Darius's fingers curled slightly. A tremor ran through them. Elias saw it. Small, but real. You're not a monster. You were made into one, and I think, deep down, you're still human. A long pause followed. Then something unexpected happened. Darius turned away, not out of defiance, but shame. His voice, when he spoke, was different. My sister, she died because of me. I was 12. No one ever forgave me, not even me. Elias said nothing. He simply listened, and in that silent moment the storm inside Darius cracked. The next day, the cameras resumed functioning. Guards found Darius sitting alone in his cell, quiet, calm, with no signs of violence. On his bed was a folded note, written in uneven handwriting. I don't deserve peace, but I want it. Maybe that's a start. The warden was furious, but he couldn't deny the change. Darius stopped lashing out. He followed orders. He even intervened to stop a violent fight between inmates. It wasn't redemption, but it was a beginning. As for Elias, he vanished once more. No one ever caught him. But the stories continued. Stories of healing, of whispered hope in the night, of an angel who knew the darkness well, because he had once lived in it, and within the prison once ruled by fear, a fragile light began to grow.